Shaykh Basuni said something, and it's really powerful. He says, at the time of fitna, you cannot teach people.
AlMaghrib Institute presents Q&A with Kamal al-Mekki.
And it's so true.
Yeah.
You cannot teach at the time of fitna. Just wait for it to quell down, to die down, and then teach them for the next one, maybe.
I mean,
nobody listens.
You can't teach self-defense in the fight.
Exactly, in the middle of the fight.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
But the problem is that people don't see the value of these discussions until the fitna comes. And then they're like, why isn't everybody speaking? Why aren't you?
No, but I think, to your point, I think the self-defense analogy is very similar to this. At some point, somebody, like, you hope to never be in that situation. Whether you're witnessing a fight or you're in it, either causing it or defending against it, right? But in either situation, you want to be prepared and know what to do. I mean, that's what martial arts has been around for, millennia. And I think this is a social art, so like not a martial art, but a social relationship art, in the sense of like, it's the same thing. Like, how do you, what's the self-defense against it? What is the appropriate response to when you do see it, right? And these people need to be taught as part of, I feel like we don't have a name for it, right? Like, you have martial arts and self-defense in a physical altercation, but in a social, reputational altercation, like we call it fitna, but like we should name it and have training against it.
That's your thing. Come up with a good name for us. Yeah. But I'll tell you something. You want to hear something amazing? When there was a companion by the name of Ma'az ibn Malik who committed zina. All right? His friend Hazal told him, in one narration, he told him, go turn yourself in before ayat come and expose you and you're in trouble. In another narration, he comes to, actually, either way, it doesn't matter. Either way, the Prophet ﷺ, when everything was said and done with Ma'az ibn Malik, he comes to Hazal. And look at the wording. He tells him, Ya Hazal, لو سترته بطرف ردائك لكان خيرا لك. He says, if you would have concealed him with the edge of your garment, yani he committed zina, cover him with your garment, like figuratively.
Oh, he's talking to the companion that was telling him.
The one that told him to turn himself in.
Yeah.
He said, if you would have covered him with your edge of your garment in one narration, with your garment in the other narration, it would have been better for you. And that's the part that blows me away, is that it would have been better for, obviously, it would be better for him.
Yeah.
I mean, he was executed as a result because he wanted it, by the way. But
this is the same companion. They're like, yo, I committed zina, and the Prophet was like, he turned away.
That's the same one, yes.
Okay.
But he said it would have been better for you to conceal him. Even though, if you really want to get technical, no harm happened to him.
He was his friend, right?
Yeah.
So ultimately he lost a friend.
He did lose a friend. And you know what's again, that's amazing? Obviously, no one can commit zina by themselves. I think right?
Takes two to tango.
Everyone knew the girl.
Okay.
And the Prophet did something amazing. He didn't say nobody talked to the girl, no one approached the girl. And if he would have said that, every companion would have obeyed, true or false.
Right.
He did something far more dramatic. He asked for her to come. So she came all the way to him. And then he said one word to her. Idhabi. Like, she came all the way for him to tell her, okay, go. So why is that more dramatic? He could have said, just nobody talk about the girl, nobody accuse the girl, done. And everyone would have obeyed.
Is it fair to say that what he did was more or less getting a citation to appear in court, right? And then you show up to court that's legally documented, and the court's like, all right, case dismissed.
You're excused. Case dismissed. Man, that's awesome. That was so good.
Case dismissed.
That's a Bilal point right there. That's excellent. That's exactly what it is. And because you know what? Generations later, someone can say, perhaps they didn't, I don't know who the girl was. Perhaps he couldn't reach her. Maybe she ran away. No. She walked up to him. He looked her in the eye and said, now go. He closed that door for good. Nobody can open it again. And in the case of Al-Ghamidiyya, the woman who committed zina, there's not a single narration where he asked, who's the guy, by the way?
Is this the same story where he told her to go, she comes back with the baby, then comes again?
Absolutely.
Okay, yeah.
There's not a single narration where he said, by the way, who is the guy?
Not interested.
Not interested. We don't want your blood. We don't have a blood quota that needs to be met.
She's the one who came forward.
Yeah.
And is there a situation just like in the other companion where somebody told her to come forward, or it was
No.
more on her?
No.
Okay.
And when the Prophet ﷺ started to turn away from her, you know what she said? Like, she's very clear. She said, I think you're going to do with me what you did with Ma'az ibn Malik. Where you try to give him chances and ask him. I'm serious. But so the Prophet ﷺ said, that happened to you? She said, yes. Then he says, go until you give birth. So now let's say that's 7 or 8 months.
Yeah.
She had, you can't count how many chances she had to change her mind.
Yeah.
She'd wake up every morning, and then after the baby kicks, you get attached. Then after the baby comes out,
Yeah.
you see their eyes, you see their personality, you see whatever. You change your mind. She comes back, insisting. He says, okay, go until you win him off. That's 2 years.
Yeah.
And in the meantime, people live and die and get married and battles happen. Prophet is not sitting waiting, what's with the woman? Nobody cares. And we're hoping that you just never come back. And then she comes back with bread in the child's hand, like, I'm back. So that's, I saw this video, this non-Muslim saying, look what they did to this woman. Did you read the story? And she has a right to. She absolutely insisted. She was given 1,000,001 chances. She said, I don't want to deal with this on the Day of Judgment. I want to end it here.
Yeah.
And now you come 1,400 years later, like, it's like really none of your business, really.
Yeah.
I think the issue here is that people don't understand the context when they're commenting. And
Completely.
Or they don't want to.
They're looking for an excuse to badmouth. But at the same time, somebody sincere is like understanding, because that's the thing that's difficult unless somebody explains it, right? Like what are the perspectives here? Like like on one hand, you could say, go wean the baby off. Somebody could be like, oh, he's telling her better come back.
No.
Right? But I think that's the thing is like, that's where the understanding needs to be laid down. Like, is there anybody who would say that was a court order to come back after 2 years?
I mean, they can say it, but they have it doesn't even match the story. Like, he started by trying to get her to go in. She said, look, don't do what you did with Ma'iz maybe you did this, maybe you only kissed, maybe you only that. It's like, I'm here, I'm serious.
Okay.
And he respected that. Because in the end, in Islam, one more time, you have the option to repent, and you can, within a Muslim state, of course, not your best friend's basement, you have the right to say, no, I want to deal with this here on earth, so Allah will not ask me about it on the Day of Judgment. And when the Prophet ﷺ saw her seriousness, he still gave her chances, but he didn't engage in that, in dialogue, trying to change her mind.
Okay. I guess based on the interaction, he understood that she's going to do what she wants to do.
But he still gave her those. And like, can you imagine how many opportunities in 2 years? When the child, and when you bring a baby home, and you're like, and they're just, and then when they've cracked the first smile, how things change. Then when they make the first sound, how things change. Then when they sit up,
start
then
talking,
when they crawl, they start talking. Then you see some of your personality. Yeah, and they walk, and you see their personality or your personality in them. That you might say, you know what? I'll make tawbah, and then on top of that, and raise this child and see him grow and get married. But then another strong point is that after the punishment was carried out, Allah and Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said that she has made a tawbah. If it was distributed amongst the people of Medina, لَوَسِعَتْهُمْ. He could have told her that and said, but you know what? He respected her decision.
It would have been
and
enough
right.
for them.
It would have been enough to distribute her tawbah amongst everyone in Medina, and it will be enough for them to make tawbah from everything in their life.
Wow.
So her tawbah was sincere and was great, and he could have tried to talk her out of it and say, I got revelation that but he also respected her
It was
choice.
so concentrated, it could be diluted amongst the people of Medina, and it would be enough for them.
There we go with the poetry. Yeah. Absolutely.
Cool.